Hello, I'm Grant, and welcome back to Phrasal Verb News, where we use real news stories to teach you phrasal verbs and idioms in context. First, I'll explain the news story and give a brief description of the new vocabulary, and at the end of the podcast, I'll provide a deeper explanation, examples, and ask you some questions so you can practice the new vocabulary right away. Today's story is quite sad because Colombian Senator and presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay passed away earlier this week, about 2 months after being shot while giving a campaign speech in a park in Bogotá, Colombia. Passed away is a polite way to say that someone has died. After being shot 3 times by a 14-year-old gunman, he was rushed to the hospital where he underwent many surgeries, but unfortunately, none of them were able to save his life. Undergo means to experience something very difficult and serious. This event is even more tragic because his mother, Diana Turbay, who was a brave and respected journalist during the time when Pablo Escobar was terrorizing the country, was also assassinated many years ago while kidnapped by a drug cartel. For many Colombians, this killing felt like it set the clock back to a darker time in the country's history, when political murders happened more often. It has also fanned the flames of fear and anger, showing that the violence from the past can still happen today. Let's transition into the vocab. I'll give you a couple examples and then ask you a question. If you can, try to pause the podcast and answer the question out loud or in your head. This will help you to remember and actually be able to use this word or phrase in the future. Let's get started. First, we have pass away, which is a polite way to say die. For example, my neighbor's cat passed away after 18 years. The founder of our company passed away last year, but his vision still guides the company. And a question. Have you ever known someone who passed away and left a big impact on your life? Next, we have undergo, meaning to experience something difficult, serious, important, especially a medical procedure or a big change. For example, I had to undergo dental surgery last month. The company is undergoing major changes to improve efficiency. And a question. What's a big change your company has undergone recently? Number 3. Set the clock back. This means to return to an earlier, often worse time or situation. For example, that decision could set the clock back on gender equality. If we cancel the project, it could set the clock back on our technology plans by 2 years. And a question. Can you think of a change in your industry that set the clock back? And finally, fan the flames. This means to make a bad situation worse, often by intensifying emotions like anger or fear. For example, spreading rumors only fanned the flames of conflict between the two neighbors. The CEO's comments fanned the flames of investor concern about the company's future. This is quite similar to another idiom we have called stir the pot, but stir the pot is specifically used in interpersonal relationships. And our final question. Have you ever seen someone fan the flames in a meeting or negotiation? What happened? Today's story was a sad reminder that political violence can still affect even the youngest and most promising leaders, and that history sometimes repeats itself in painful ways. So that's all for today. Try to remember these expressions. They're not only useful for talking about politics or tragedy, but also for everyday life and professional situations. I'm Grant with Business as Usual English. Thanks for listening, and come back tomorrow for more news and more English. Until then.